Hello, everyone. It's Saturday. That means it's Chat with Mac. We're glad to have you. Thank you for joining us. For all of you that are listen to us every week, we really appreciate your feedback. Please continue to give your feedback. Let us know some topics that you want us to talk about. And for those of you that are new to what we do, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday to you, boss.
Hey, how's it going?
I slept. I'm happy. So
That's always
slept.
good. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what are we going to talk about today, Matt?
For those of you that don't know, my job is I call CEOs, business owners, business leaders every day, and we engage in different conversations that Nadeem expounds on when he meets with them face to face. And one of the things that has become a reoccurring question in my discussions is cybersecurity, which Nadeem has always been very, very high on, and who wouldn't be, especially now in this landscape. So the question that a lot of these owners are having are, how do they talk to their employees about cybersecurity? How do they talk to their management staff about cybersecurity, especially since now more than ever, small businesses are being hit a lot more frequently than in prior years. So want to see if you can expound on that.
Yeah, so actually, it's fairly easy to do if you know where to look. So, CISA, which is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, already publishes a bunch of documents around this, and they published this set of questions that CEOs should ask their management to get a better understanding and better control over their cybersecurity posture. And I'll share my screen and we'll put some stuff up here, and we'll just go through that really quick. So it is very important for CEOs to know what's happening as far as cybersecurity. So if there is an incident, you can't say, "Hey, I didn't know." You can't say, I mean, you can't claim ignorance and not suffer the consequences. In short,
Yeah.
right? So there's a few things that a CEO should ask um, regarding some potential cybersecurity threats, right? So the first one is, and this is straight from the CISA website. Um, you want to ask how your vendors, your customers, your internal departments, um, how cybersecurity threats can affect them, and it's different for different areas of business, right? So it impacts your vendors differently, it impacts your customers differently, and your internal staff totally differently, right? So you want to ask that question, and then your management can go out and figure out, how cybersecurity threats impact their specific areas, their specific roles. Um, the next question is, and it's only 5 questions, so it's not too many. So the next question is, what type of information could be leaked? So, you know, if you are sharing some confidential information with your vendors, and if your vendor has a breach, what is going to be the impact of that?
That's a
How
good
is it going to
question.
impact you? How is it going to impact your business, your customers, your employees? I mean, you might have a vendor where you have to give them information about your employees, and what if that gets out and gets breached? What happens? So we want to ask those questions, and one of the things that's what we call PI, which is right here, personally identifiable information, and that is what GDPR is all around. Is we don't want PI to get out there in the wild where scammers can use it to scam your employees, your vendors, whatever have you. So we want to make sure of that. Um, the other thing you want to ask your staff is how to have a plan for long-term resiliency. The problem is cybersecurity landscape is continuously changing. It's not a static environment. It's a dynamic equilibrium. So it's always kind of changing, and you want to make sure that you have some sort of a plan for that long-term resiliency. So no matter how it changes, your process needs to accommodate for that change. So don't design your process around what's happening now. Design your process around how it can handle the change, because it is going to be continually changing. So, one of the things that we run into is a lot of times you do business with, let's say, a customer, and that customer demands that you share certain kind of information, like cyber threat information specifically, and you have to have a plan around what you're going to share and how you're going to share it. And I'll give you a quick example. Let's say a company had a breach, and before doing their forensic analysis or anything like that, they divulged, or somebody in the company divulged to one of their customers that, oh, hey, we've had a security breach. Right. The repercussions of that are so huge that we can't even wrap our mind around it. What can happen? I mean, we've seen prospects come to us and say, hey, we had a breach, and it could be a year ago, and we're only getting the repercussions of that now because our customer so and so knew about it, and they're claiming that we did not take the proper precautions, or we did not handle the event correctly. And had they not divulged the information before a full forensic analysis, the situation would have been totally different. Yeah. So that's one of the main things that we tell companies and customers out there, is that if there is a breach, you want to make sure that people are not talking about it. Your employees are not talking about it and telling their people they know personally, or your clients or vendors, that there has been a breach until a full forensic analysis is done. And that's where your breach coaches and legal comes into play, and they kind of guide you and your team what you can say and how you can say it, right? It's very important. And that goes hand in hand with the information sharing practices that your business should adopt, right? Now, one of the things in information sharing is you should also subscribe to, and there's a lot of sites out there that have security information and breach information published on a routine basis. So you should subscribe to that, stay ahead of that. Now, not as a CEO, but your employees, your managers, maybe your CFO or CTO, if you have one, or CIO, whatever the role is, they should really stay ahead of what kind of breaches and threats are out there, so that you're better prepared to handle them, because this landscape is continuously changing. So we want to make sure that we follow these 5 steps, and that way you're better equipped to handle security issues that might arise.
So now, let me just ask a quick question. How often should a company be going over protocols, contingency plans as it pertains to breaches? How often are they going over that plan?
So it depends on the company, and it depends on the industry you're in. It depends on your size. So it's a lot of different variables. But what I will tell you this is, work with your MSSP or MSP, whoever's handling your infrastructure. They will give you the cadence for those meetings, right? So you don't want to do it like, I know a lot of small companies, they'll do it like once a year. That might not be enough. I mean, a company that handles information, end user information on a day-to-day basis, that is definitely not enough. You need to do maybe every 3 months, like you need to do it on a quarterly basis. And you need to review that, because you are dealing with critical information and you are a target, right? A company that makes, let's say, brake pads, is not going to be as big of a target as a company that handles, for example, um, social security information for customers, right? Maybe there's a company that handles, retiree social security applications. Well, that's a big target,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, it varies based on that. Now, so these are the five things that a CEO should ask uh, about potential cybersecurity threats. I don't want to go too long into this, but I want to say this: next time, next chat with Mac, let's talk about how CEOs can guide this conversation with their departments, employees, and personnel. Right. That will be another good thing. That will be a good next step. Is so what you need to do, what you need to understand. So the next what we'll discuss is how you can guide that conversation with everybody in the organization. So we'll talk about that next. I want to keep it short. We are already at 13 minutes. So let's just digest this week. And then next week, next chat with Mac, we will go into how you can guide these discussions. And you can always go to CISA.gov, CISA.gov, and there's a lot of security information out there. It's overwhelming. It definitely is overwhelming. I mean, it can be overwhelming for me, and I do this all day, every day, right? So we want to just drill it down, water it down, give you short, actionable items that you can put into place.
And if you have any questions and you want to talk to Nadeem a little bit further one-on-one, email me, Mac, M-A-C-K, at PC.Solutions.Net. We'll get you on his calendar so you can talk a little bit more in detail about that.
Awesome. Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.